Hugh Grant was a total boy in this movie. Welcome back to A.S.M.R, A Straight Man Reviews, the series where I attempt to change the way my brain works through the power of cinema and film. For this episode, I wanted to choose a film that stars arguably the king of romantic comedies, and you best believe I'm talking about Hugh Grant. Now, there are many Hugh Grant romantic comedies to choose from, but for this episode, I will be reviewing Bridget Jones' Diary. Now, I know a few of the actors in this movie, but otherwise I'm going in completely blind, so let's hope it's a good one. So the movie begins on Bridget, who is 32 and single, and she is on her way to her parents' Christmas party. There, her mom tries to set her up with Mark, who is played by Colin Firth, but they end up bickering at each other and he's not very impressed with her. We then see Bridget moping around her apartment a little bit until she finally decides to write a diary to help hold herself accountable on her self-improvement journey. One of the things she writes about is her boss, Daniel, played by Hugh Grant, and how she has a crush on him, but that he's probably not the right type of guy for her. And the next thing we know, they are flirting through their work emails. So things heat up between the two of them in the office until we were at a book release event for their publishing company. There, Bridget runs into Mark and they bicker a little bit more. Eventually, after the event, Daniel takes Bridget out to dinner. At that point, we find out that Daniel and Mark used to be best friends until Mark slept with Daniel's fiance. Daniel asks if Bridget wants to go back to his place. She originally says no. He kisses her, and then she says yes, and they go back to his place and sleep together. Bridget then has a conversation with her mom and finds out that her mom is leaving her dad for some guy that works for the Home Shopping Network. Bridget then goes on a holiday weekend with Daniel, where of course she runs into Mark and his girlfriend staying in the same exact hotel. Daniel has to leave the holiday early, and when Bridget catches up with him back in the city, she walks in to find a naked woman in his bathroom. It is soon revealed after that he is engaged to this woman. Bridget decides to find a new job and lands one at a TV station as a journalist despite not having any broadcasting experience. She goes to her old office and tells off Daniel in front of all of her old co-workers. She then ends up at a party that is filled with only couples, and of course, Mark and his girlfriend are there. It is actually at this party that, in private, Mark apologizes to her and admits that he actually likes her just the way she is. From this point on, Mark and Bridget become friends. He helps her land in a very important interview through a client that he has, and then they end up at her apartment cooking her birthday dinner for her friends. After the dinner, Daniel shows up to apologize to Bridget, which leads to a big fist fight in the street between Daniel and Mark. Mark storms off. Daniel tries to win Bridget back, but she says no. We then cut to the next Christmas, where Bridget is hanging out with her dad. Her mom shows up to apologize, and her parents make up. We then find out from her mom that it was actually Daniel that screwed over Mark and slept with his wife. We then end up at Mark's family's Christmas party, where Bridget tries to apologize to Mark, but it seems to be a little bit too late as there is a big announcement that Mark is moving to New York for his job. So Bridget is alone again, and her friends decide to take her on a trip to Paris in hopes of cheering her up. But just before they can leave, Mark shows up. Turns out he's not moving to New York, and he wants to be with Bridget. Bridget decides to change her underwear for some reason, and while she's doing this, Mark finds her diary and seemingly storms off. She chases after him down the street, only to find out that he was just going to buy her a new diary so she could start over. They end up kissing in the street while she stands on her tiptoes. While it fades to black, the words "the end" are written. They are crossed out. The words "the beginning" are written over that. And we roll credits. All right, I'm just gonna say it. Hugh Grant was a total boy in this movie. Like, if this dude was a real person, he would be the poster boy for the Me Too movement. He abuses his position of power, he sexually assaults his coworkers, he constantly lies, he cheats on his partners, and he slept with his best friend's wife instead it happened the other way around just to get into the pants of a woman. Like, boy. Like, just complete boy. And if you don't know what a boy is, here's the definition. And honestly, I want to give Hugh another chance. I know he's usually known for playing these charming, witty, romantic interests, and I guess he was a little bit of that in this movie, but on top of that, he was just a complete boy. And that's not to say that anybody else in the movie isn't problematic. Honestly, Bridget herself is not a very good role model for women. She's constantly trying to change who she is for other people, and the movie plays really hard into the trope of women are miserable and weak until a big strong man comes into their life to save them. The movie also digs in a lot to her body image, and oftentimes she's shamed by other people for the way she looks. Also, apparently, if you are in your 30s and single, you are just a big old piece of shit. She honestly reminds me a lot of the single male roommates I've had in my 20s, and that's not necessarily a good thing. I guess maybe one thing that the movie does have is that it shows that maybe not all women are these innocent, delicate flowers, and that because Mark likes her for the way she is and all her flaws, that maybe there's a little bit of redemption in that, but otherwise the movie literally ends with her chasing him down in desperation, and I just think that makes her look a little weak. Overall, the movie's pretty predictable. You can pretty much see the twist coming and who she's going to end up with from the get-go. I've heard it's loosely based on Pride and Prejudice, which I have not seen, but will probably be a part of the series at some point, so I will compare those two when I get to that. The movie also has this very weird level of raunchiness to it that can be a little off-putting. Like, there's this scene with Bridget's mother, and she's selling this egg peeler to a crowd of people, and it's just kind of weird. And there's also another scene between Daniel and Bridget where they've just implied that they did some butt stuff and they decide to do some more butt stuff. Maybe overall because the movie is so farcical and over the top that it just wasn't meant to be taken that seriously. I don't think I would suggest this movie to other straight men, or really anyone for that matter. The movie seems to be pretty ridiculous and falls into a lot of overplayed romantic comedy tropes. It's pretty middle of the road as far as entertainment goes, and it just really doesn't do much as far as pushing the boundaries of the genre. So this has been another episode of A.S.M.R, A Straight Man Reviews. This seems to be the first movie that I feel a little indifferent about, but I'm sure that's bound to happen along the way. I appreciate you stopping by, as I will keep my list of movies going, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and even comment movies you want me to watch. Until then, I've been Sean, and I will see you in the next one.